My legs were getting weaker every single month, and I had convinced myself that was just how aging worked. I thought decline was automatic after a certain birthday. But then I stopped 4 things. I didn't add a complicated workout. I didn't join a gym. I didn't buy a program. I simply stopped 4 habits. Within weeks, my legs began to feel stronger, steadier, more reliable. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly what they were. I need you to watch this entire video because what I'm about to share is not flashy. It's not trendy, but it can quietly change the direction your legs are heading. I'm going to be honest about the mistakes I made, especially the ones that felt helpful at the time, but were actually making things worse. By the end, you'll know exactly what to stop and why stopping it matters. My name is Harold. I'm 61 years old. And if your legs have felt heavier, weaker, or less dependable lately, type the word legs in the comments right now. I read them. I really do. Because 2 years ago, I could not walk from my kitchen to my front door without brushing my hand along the wall. Not because I was dizzy, because my legs felt like they didn't fully belong to me anymore. They were heavy, slightly numb by afternoon, unreliable when I first stood up. I told myself it was normal. 77 years old? What did I expect? So I did what most people do when something feels weak. I rested it. Whenever that familiar heaviness crept in, I sat down. I figured my legs needed recovery time. I did that for 6 weeks. They didn't improve. They didn't stay the same. They got worse. Not dramatically worse, quietly worse. The kind of worse you don't notice until one day you realize you're avoiding stairs. Then a friend suggested compression socks. I wore them faithfully for 3 weeks. Every morning, pulling them up felt like I was taking control. By 2 in the afternoon, my legs still felt like sandbags. The socks didn't hurt. They just didn't fix the problem. They made me feel proactive, but nothing underneath changed. My daughter called from out of state and recommended magnesium supplements. She had read an article and wanted to help. I took them daily for a month. Maybe they help some people. I'm not dismissing them. But my legs didn't notice. 3 different attempts, 3 different ideas. 0 real progress. That's when frustration set in. Not fear, not sadness, frustration. Because deep down, I sensed I was missing something obvious. One afternoon last fall, I saw my neighbor Martin walking his dog. I've known him for over a decade. Friendly wave, small talk, nothing serious. But that day, something was different. He wasn't moving faster. He was moving more solidly, like his legs were fully under him again. I stopped him and asked what he had been doing. He laughed and said something that stuck with me. I didn't add anything, he said. I stopped 4 things. That sentence bothered me in a good way, because I had been trying to add solutions, add gear, add supplements, add support. I hadn't considered subtraction. I asked him what he stopped. He told me right there on the sidewalk. I went home and started that same day. The first thing he told me to stop was long, unbroken sitting. Not sitting itself. Long stretches without movement. I was sitting in my recliner for 2 or 3 hours at a time, reading, watching television, scrolling on my phone. I would stand up and feel stiff, heavy, slightly unstable. Then I would sit back down quickly because it felt safer. He explained it simply. When you sit for long periods, the muscles in your legs gradually switch off. Blood pools, the calves stop pumping, the hips stop engaging. The body gets very efficient at doing nothing. And when you finally stand, you expect those muscles to suddenly perform. They can't. So he set a rule. Every 40 minutes he stood up, walked to the kitchen, walked back, 2 minutes maximum. That was it. It sounded almost insulting in its simplicity, but I tried it. The first 3 days, nothing dramatic happened. By day 5, I realized I wasn't grabbing the wall every time I stood. By the end of the second week, the afternoon heaviness had noticeably decreased. I'm not exaggerating. Breaking up my sitting changed the rhythm of my entire day. Now I set a quiet reminder on my watch. Every 40 minutes I stand, move briefly, and sit again. My legs stay awake. They don't shut down anymore. If you sit longer than an hour at a time, be honest with yourself. Comment "sit" below if that's you. Awareness is the first correction. The second thing he told me to stop surprised me even more. Wearing thick, overly cushioned house shoes all day. I wore soft, padded slippers from morning until bedtime. They felt comfortable, protected, safe. But Martin explained it in a way I hadn't considered. When your feet are constantly wrapped in thick cushioning, the small, stabilizing muscles in your feet and ankles don't have to work. Your arches relax, your toes grip less, your ankles become passive, and when those small muscles go quiet, everything above them compensates. Calves stiffen, knees absorb more strain, balance becomes slightly less precise. It wasn't about walking barefoot everywhere. It was about giving my feet time to feel the floor again, to grip, to respond, to stay active. So I started spending short periods at home in thinner, more flexible shoes. Sometimes just in supportive socks, not on slippery floors, not recklessly, just enough to wake up the muscles that had been asleep inside foam padding. Within a couple of weeks, I felt more stable standing at the kitchen counter. Subtle, but real. Here's what I want you to understand. Weakness after 70 is not always about age itself. It's often about small daily habits that slowly turn muscles off. Long sitting, over-supporting, avoiding discomfort completely. Those habits feel protective, but over time they quietly reduce your capacity. If this is resonating with you, don't wait until the end. Subscribe now, because most leg decline doesn't happen in a hospital. It happens in living rooms, quietly, gradually, and the solutions are often simpler than we expect. But only if we're willing to look at what to stop. We're only halfway through the list. The next two things I stopped had an even bigger impact, especially on morning stiffness and that first step hesitation feeling. Stay with me. What comes next might surprise you even more. He told me something that hit harder than I expected. He said his feet had stopped doing any real work because his shoes were doing everything for them. Thick cushioned soles, built-in arch support, padded heels. His feet had slowly retired without him realizing it. And when your feet retire, your legs follow. The body works as one connected chain. Weak feet mean unstable ankles. Unstable ankles mean cautious knees. Cautious knees mean hesitant hips. And hesitant hips mean slower, weaker legs overall. He didn't throw his shoes away. He didn't start walking barefoot on concrete. He was smart about it. He simply began spending time at home in thin-soled shoes or socks on a rug, not on slippery tile, not on hard floors, just enough so his feet had to feel the ground again, just enough so the small stabilizing muscles had to wake up and do their job. I switched to thin canvas shoes inside the house. The first week, my feet actually ached. Not sharp pain, more like a deep, sleepy stiffness. He told me that was normal. That's your feet waking up, he said. By week 3, that ache was gone, and something else had changed. When I stood at the kitchen counter or turned quickly in the hallway, I felt more planted, more stable. My balance felt quieter. If you're walking around all day in thick, cushioned house shoes, ask yourself something uncomfortable. Are your feet working, or are they being carried? And before I continue, if someone you care about has been complaining about weak legs or fear of falling, share this video with them. Not for views, not for numbers, but because one simple conversation on a sidewalk changed the direction of my mobility. Sometimes one nudge is all someone needs. The third thing he told me to stop was avoiding hills and uneven ground. For over a year, I had been rerouting my walks to stay on perfectly flat sidewalks. If there was a slope, I crossed the street. If there was cracked pavement, I avoided it. I told myself I was being careful. What I was really doing was training my legs to handle only the easiest possible conditions. He explained it this way: the small muscles around your ankles and knees only develop when the ground is slightly unpredictable. Flat, perfectly smooth surfaces allow the big muscles to do the bare minimum. The moment the surface changes, those smaller stabilizers are supposed to react instantly. If they haven't been used, they hesitate. He started walking on a mild grassy slope behind the park. Nothing dramatic. Just uneven enough to require small, constant adjustments. No rushing, no proving anything. There's a gentle incline near the end of my street. I began walking it slowly every morning. The first week, it was genuinely hard. My legs felt uncertain, almost annoyed. The second week, it felt like effort, but manageable. By the end of the month, something clicked. My legs felt responsive. Not young, not 50 again, but awake, reactive, like they belonged to me again. Avoidance feels safe in the moment, but long-term, it quietly reduces your capacity. Now the fourth thing, and he said this was the biggest one, was stopping the habit of leading with my hands. This one stung because it was so obvious once I saw it. Every time I sat down, I reached for the armrest before my legs had done any work. Every time I stood up, I pushed off with my arms first. Getting out of the car, I grabbed the door frame. Getting up from the toilet, I gripped the bar immediately. My arms were doing the lifting, my legs were assisting. He realized his legs hadn't actually lifted his full body weight in months because his hands were always doing the job first. So he changed one rule: pause before using your hands. When sitting or standing, he kept his hands in his lap or at his sides for a split second, just long enough to let the legs initiate the movement. If he truly needed support, he used it, but only after his legs had engaged. The first few times I tried this, it felt unstable, a little alarming if I'm honest. My body wasn't used to relying on my legs first, but within 2 weeks, something shifted. My thighs began firing sooner. My hips felt stronger rising out of a chair. By week 3, I wasn't thinking about it anymore. My legs were simply doing what they were meant to do. That is the one I wish someone had told me 10 years ago. Now I can almost hear some of you thinking, my situation is different. My knees are worse. My hip is bad. I have more going on. I understand that. Truly. I'm not telling you to ignore pain or push through something unsafe. I'm saying pick one. Just one of these 4 things. If nothing else, start with the sitting rule. Every 40 minutes, stand for 2 minutes. That costs nothing. It risks nothing. Give it 2 weeks before you decide it doesn't work. Don't judge it on day 3. Small habits need time to rewire muscle memory. Nothing changed overnight for me. Nothing changed overnight for him. But something shifted. And once something shifts, you gain momentum. Momentum creates hope. Hope creates consistency. And consistency changes legs. 2 months after that sidewalk conversation, he and I started walking together twice a week. Not far, not fast, just around the neighborhood. Talking about nothing important, his dog, my tomatoes, stories from decades ago. Last week he challenged me to walk up the steeper hill on Maple without stopping. I hesitated for a second. Old habits whisper loudly. But I agreed. We made it, slowly, breathing heavier than we'd like to admit, but we made it. We stood at the top like 2 men who had climbed something far bigger than a hill. And maybe we had. My legs are not perfect, they never will be, but they are solid. They respond when I ask them to move. They carry me without that constant fear in the background. They feel like mine again. If this gave you even one small insight, comment the word legs below. I want to know who's still committed to keeping their legs under them. And if you're serious about staying mobile after 70, not just hoping for it, but actively protecting it, subscribe to this channel now. Because most leg weakness doesn't start with injury. It starts with small habits that slowly turn muscles off. And most strength doesn't come from dramatic workouts. It comes from removing the things that quietly weaken you. Your legs are still listening. The question is whether you're giving them a reason to wake up.